What's going on, people? It is Irish Connor HD here, you can call me Irish, and today I thought I would have a look at drifting in Assetto Corsa with the Logitech G920. For those of you that don't know, I used to play with a MS wheel, I used to play with R Factor and Project Cars and stuff like that. I used to just use the Microsoft wireless racing wheel for the PC, not the speed wheel, not that ridiculous little handheld thing, but the full-on wheel. The only problem was it was only 270 degrees and it didn't have any force feedback. So I upgraded recently, just there about halfway through December. I picked up a Logitech G920 and the shifter, and it's been a massive upgrade, massive difference. It's gone from, like, as I said, 270 and no force feedback to the full 900 degrees force feedback, a clutch pedal and a separate shifter, like, which is all brand new shampoo to me. But yeah, so basically, as well as like Project Cars and kind of spending hours upon hours in R Factor trying to get it to work, only to find out recently that it doesn't actually work at the driver level. The force feedback doesn't fully work with the G920 in R Factor. Basically, I was kind of at my wit's end trying to find a game where I could drift and enjoy racing and stuff like that fully, because the drifting in Project Cars is awful. Yeah, and then I stumbled across Assetto Corsa, and then with the help of my good buddy Alan, I've mentioned before about my buddy Deck, who I used to play with in Forza, and has gone on to drive a real life like S14 now in the IDC. Alan is from like that original time, like in 2011 or what it was, or whatever it was, in the early Forza 3 days for me. The two of those guys, Alan and Deck, were massively helpful. And Alan has once again come through in a big way. He's basically shown me how to kind of get started with Assetto Corsa, what kind of mods I need to download and that kind of thing. I basically shared some helpful links, which I'm going to now share with you guys. What I would appreciate from you is if you would please go check out Alan's YouTube channel. He really deserves a couple of views. Like, he's got some gaming videos, or like car drift gaming videos, and also real life drifting videos as far as I know. So yeah, please go check him out. And yeah, so let's get into it. So, the first thing that you're going to need, again, I'll leave all links in the description, is some cars. So, well, obviously, you need the base game, you need the wheel, and then you need some cars. So the first thing is to check out the links in the description for the links to the car mods. And basically, the best car that I found, by a country mile to be fair, is this Nissan S13. Where is it now? One page back, maybe? No, one page forward. Is it this one? Yeah, this one here. So there we go. So this Nissan S13, it's an absolute beast. It's fast. It's got great controllability. It handles perfectly. Some of the other cars that you'll download have this kind of almost four-wheel drive-esque feeling to them. Like, you'll be turning counter steering, or like you'll like initiate the drift, and then as you go to counter steer, it'll automatically pull you back in the direction that you counter steered, which can be quite frustrating. Whereas the Nissan S13 is absolutely perfect. The 900 degrees works flawlessly. So basically, that's the first car that I recommend testing. That comes as part of it as a pack. Again, I can't remember the name of the pack now, but again, all the links will be in the description. Basically, once you've got the car, you can download, again, more links in the description for the tracks. So I've gotten a heap of tracks here. The one that I was testing on when I first started was Mayhan, of course. That's kind of like the most famous one. But the one that I found best for getting the hang of short corners, and also really long kind of sweeper corners, is the Sekia Hills. Sekia Hills is a fantastic little kind of... I keep wanting to show you on the actual picture there, but it's not working. Yeah, Sekia Hills has like lots of kind of loop figure eight kind of canyon-esque corners, but then also the start straight leads into one long big sweeper, which is also very nice as well. Downhill kind of turn. Yeah, so basically download all the cars and tracks that you want. Now let's get started as far as settings goes. The first thing you want to do is to open up the Logitech gaming software program. So basically, if you log it up, or if you open it up and you have everything plugged in and set up all correctly, it should look like this. It should have your pedals, your wheel, and your shifter. Obviously, if you didn't buy the separate shifter, you won't have that, but we'll power through. So if you go on to the wheel section down here, picture of a G25 or a G27 apparently. Anyway, yeah, so if you go on and look at here, now I don't know if this makes a difference, but because I was playing Project Cars mostly when I first picked up the wheel, I have it set on the Project Cars kind of profile preset. Now I've edited it, and I'll show you how I've edited it, of course, when we go in there. But basically, just so you know, I don't know if it makes any difference to the key bindings or anything like that, but just so you know, Project Cars profile selected by default. So the main thing that I've changed is in the steering wheel, I've set it from 50 to 100 for drifting. It just makes the car a lot more responsive. It just makes the cars in the game feel a lot more responsive. And it's I don't know. I can't tell you. It's more of a feel thing than a thing that I can properly explain. But just setting the sensitivity from 50 to 100 just seems to make it feel a lot better to me. The next thing then would be obviously the shifter. That's not anything important there. Then the brake. The brake pedal is my biggest problem with the G20 or with the G920. The brake pedal is very, very stiff, and I sit on a, like, if you sit in a cockpit setup, that's fine, but I sit on a roller chair, a chair with caster wheels. So if I put, like, because the brake pedal is so very stiff, if I push down on it in any way hard, like, basically, I think the way Logitech explained it is that the first 20% is fine, but the next 80% of the brake force is really, really heavy. And again, for me in the caster seat, that basically makes it very, very hard to ever get any decent amount of braking done without rolling back away from the table. So basically, yeah, so I've set that to 100% as well. So that just means that, like, rather than pushing it 20% is like pushing it 40, if you know what I mean. Pushing it that initial 20% acts like pushing it 40. So it basically just makes the brake a little more responsive. And then obviously, if you click the little gear down here, go to G920, set your degrees to 900 if it isn't already. So that's what you do for the profiler. I didn't really mess with any key bindings, as far as I know. Yeah, so that's basically it. So you can close that down, go back into the game. Now, the game settings, this is where a lot of my kind of research has gone. Again, I would love to leave links and credit. I'm not the person that discovered this. I'm kind of like riding the coattails of the people that have gone on and found this out first. And again, this is I'm talking about like many, many hours in the middle of the night over the last day or 2 or 3 days, kind of looking into this kind of stuff. So I can't remember specific channels or people or articles or forum posts that I've read. But basically just do what I'm doing here, and full credit and thanks to all the people that have already done this work. Yeah, so basically this is what I like. It changes on a car-to-car basis basically for some of these settings. But by and large, so here's all the kind of display, video settings, effects, view settings. For me personally, I think the G-force effects when you're using the outside camera is at 1.5%. I don't like that. So I'd prefer to just have everything to 0% if you're not going to be using the cockpit mode. Just set it all to 0 so it's not kind of wild, like the camera doesn't wildly swing about the car from you if you're using the outside view. But yeah, other than that, that's just and then field of view for the cockpit is 65 for me, which is just where I prefer. The important part then is controls. So the first thing I think I did, again, it's been a while since I started all this. The first thing I think I did was I set the default thing to the G920 with shifter. So then all the default settings for that were applied. Now, if you see that I've got G920 F1 and G920, if I just load up the G920, this will be the one that I use for drifting. So, steering axis, obviously left on the wheel, right on the wheel. Just click it and then turn it. Throttle axis, press down, so click on that basically to assign it. Sorry, I should have explained what I'm doing. I'm going to walk through the assignments, where you should be assigning things basically. So click throttle, axis 7, which is basically click that space there, push down your throttle all the way. Basically, and then if you go to brakes, do the same thing. I have, again, with the whole kind of stiff brake, I've had to reduce the range from the brakes from 100% to 40%. It just makes the brakes a lot more responsive while using less pressure. And then the clutch, again, click it, pull down the clutch, and then you should be good to go. Now, the important thing to do is invert these. For some unbeknownst reason to me, I have absolutely no idea, but for some reason, so say for example, if I push down the accelerator, it goes up. But if I don't have it inverted, it's already at full throttle, and then as I push the accelerator down, it goes off throttle. It's absolutely bizarre that that's the standard setting. I'm assuming that's just kind of a factor from the game being in an early stage or whatever, or needing an update or something along those lines. But yeah, it's pretty strange. So basically throttle, brakes and clutch should all be inverted, because again, clutch is fully in, and I have to it's weird. I don't understand it. But yeah, so once maybe before I did that, I should have basically showed you, or I should have mentioned that before you do all that, sorry, this is my bad. Before you do all that, press start and use the configuration wizard. It's very straightforward. It's the same when I did my Project Cars video and I talked about setting up the force feedback on that. It's basically the same thing. It asks you to turn your wheel left and right, press a button to OK, turn your wheel 90 degrees, OK, push in the gas, the brake and the clutch and all that, and then just kind of assign the gears. It's basically straightforward enough, so I don't think I should walk you through that. I don't want to mess any of my settings up. Yeah, so once you've done that and we've done this, then we move on to shifters. Shifters, gear up and gear down, I have a big reason that they're not assigned to anything, which I'll let you know in a second, aside from obviously having a shifter. Use a separate shifter, check, and then obviously just click the button, first gear, click the button, second gear, click the button, third gear, and so on and so forth. Then reverse with the G920, it's down, out, to the right, and down. So yeah. Yeah, so basically moving on then, secondary, here we go. Here's a big tip, and I wish I could find the guy's video that I watched, but again, it's lost me. Set the handbrake to either your right or your left gear flappy paddle, basically, as Jeremy Clarkson calls it. Set your handbrake. For me, I shift with my left hand, so I set it to my right flappy paddle. This makes such a big difference when you don't have a separate handbrake mod or anything like that. Being able to easily, at many more angles than just having to press a button on the wheel, at like the top of the wheel, at the bottom of the wheel, being able to press the handbrake easily while the wheel is spinning, lifesaver. If I could, I would set both of these. Like I've tried in the Logitech Profiler, I've tried to set the left flappy paddle to like a button on my keyboard and then have them both. That would be the ideal situation. I haven't worked out how to do that yet, but I'm working on it, and I'm hopefully going to be able to get it to work. But yeah, that's basically the big tip. One big tip that I have that's very, very, very helpful is set the handbrake to right or left, depending on which side you use, obviously. So yeah, so moving on, we go to the advanced. So this is where it gets interesting then. A lot of these things can be car specific, but I've settled on this, especially with that S13, it just works. Like, it's absolutely perfect. I'm not going to go into all the reasons and what they do and all that kind of thing. I'm just going to show you and explain and basically just say what the setting should be. Gain 69, 70%. Filter 27%. Minimum force 13%. Curb effects 90%. Road effects 70%. And slip effects 11%. And then enhanced understeer effect, I haven't messed with that too much, so I've just let that off. And then combined with keyboard input, maybe if I check this, maybe that's why it wasn't working. Okay, I'm going to check that and then test that out and see how that goes. But anyway, yeah, maybe see how if I can use the left flappy paddle. I can't remember the name of the thing. To see if that works. Yeah, and then pedal settings, brake gamma is just... it's flat. I don't know if that makes any major difference. But yeah, so kind of basically... excuse me. Yeah, so basically name that, save it, and then any variations that you make, for example, my F1, if I load that, you'll see that my DRS activation and CARES activation are buttons on the wheel, and my shifter are, of course, up and down. Yes. So, yeah, so that's basically it. That's basically everything you need to get started, as far as I know. Knowing me, look, I'm probably forgetting something now. Am I? General. I don't think so. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. One, like, if I could just offer another tip, it's that if you're launching the game, so if you go in here into Drive and you click Start and the game launches the window or like goes to black and then acts like it's about to launch your actual game session but doesn't, it brings you back to this menu. Just make sure you go into display and set your thing to your monitor's native resolution. That's something that I was running into a lot, where it just, and I still do occasionally, it still does occasionally happen where it just won't launch the game, like so. But yeah, that's basically it. After that, it's just a matter of practice. It really is. It's just a matter of spending time and practicing, basically. I have these set to automatic clutch, obviously automatic throttle blip. I have these set on because I was playing it last night. I was racing Formula 1 cars. So yeah, basically, they're your settings that you want to be using. Obviously, this is all preferential. And then you just go and practice. And that's basically it. I don't think I have any more to say, other than if you have any questions, ask me and I'll hopefully be able to help you. I hope you found it useful. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new here. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.